And welcome back. We've gotten a chance to visit with Dr. Robert Bean, and first of all, moving to Salt Lake or to the Wasatch Front, a big change from
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You figured out what we knew all along. This is
Yes.
the best spot to live.
That's right.
So, getting back, you've had a chance to treat some people with some shoulder problems. Talk to me about what you went through in the process and how you've been able to help them.
Yeah, sure. Well, it goes back quite a ways. So I was in clinical practice for 20 years and had a fantastic practice, enjoyed it immensely. However, there were some things that frustrated me. One of them were degenerative joints, because it's really, really hard to get somebody who's in their 60s, 70s to a place where their joints will actually regenerate and heal and mend. That's extremely difficult to do without some type of intervention. Okay, so what I had realized.
And you're looking at someone who has been through that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been through it. Right?
Yeah, shoulder
So,
replacement.
In 2010, that's when I realized that I had some real challenges with people having degenerative joints. And I had looked into stem cell therapy before, but never with immense interest. I didn't know that much about it. I knew it was there, it was on the radar, but nobody was doing it. It was mostly out of the country or research facilities and universities, just not being widespread anywhere. However, I had learned of a clinic down in Southern California, actually down Beverly Hills, that had started doing it. And in my inquiring to them, I found out there was a group right in Seattle, just not far from me, that was doing it as well, that had started doing stem cell therapies. And so I had actually sent over a patient as, like a guinea pig, right? So, but he was willing to do it. It was Reggie. He was a 72-year-old man, played a lot of sports, right? Just like myself. But he was older, right? And I was really frustrated because I felt I was at a point where I couldn't help him anymore. So I told him about this stem cell clinic in Seattle, and he was all up for it. He wanted to give it a try, and so he did. He went up, consulted with this group, and they felt he was a good candidate for it. And they actually, what they do is they extracted the cells from his fat, which floored me because I was still learning about how this process was done. So they extracted some of his fat, and they isolate out the stem cells from that fat, and then you concentrate it, and then it was injected back into his shoulder. He had a bad degenerative shoulder, right?
Was he bone on bone?
He was. In fact, the MRI, I sent him to one of my good orthopedic surgeon friends, and he said, absolutely, he's a joint replacement. That's just what's going to happen. He's got to do that.
Because my doctor said the same. No
Yeah.
choice, no nothing. He said,
Right. There's nothing
when are
else
we
gonna
going to
bring it
replace
back.
it? Yeah.
Time to replace it. Now, but he wasn't quite there. He may not have been as bad as you. I don't know. Because I wouldn't say he was exactly bone on bone, but pretty darn close.
And I could not change, in my car, I couldn't change the radio.
Really? Okay. And now, I don't know that his was that bad, but he definitely couldn't, raise his arm up over his head, couldn't touch the small of his back. These are all just telltale signs that it's
And he had to retire from the NFL. Could no longer be a quarterback at the age of 72.
No, he was done.
Okay, it's a shame we lose our best quarterbacks.
But he was sure interested in getting back to that, right?
Okay.
I mean, he wanted to get back to weightlifting. He wanted to get back to all these things. Even at 72, he was quite energetic guy.
The weightlifting, it sounds ridiculous, but for our viewers, if you get a chance to just go to the gym for 3 or 4 times a week and lift for 15 or 20 minutes, even as you get older, it is amazing what that does for you.
Oh, sure. Every year that goes by, you lose muscle mass unless you're doing something to maintain it, right? There
And
you go.
quality of life. So
That's what you're doing.
getting that shoulder back for me, even though I'm lifting, their grandmothers who come in and lift more than me, it feels so good to be in there again.
Of course, yeah, you always do. I'm right with you every morning. That's
Perfect,
what
yeah.
That's what we need to do.
Oh, you're the young guy in the gym. Okay.
No, not as young as I used to be. But anyway, going back to Reggie, right? So he had the fat extraction and he had the stem cell procedure done in his shoulder, and he had amazing results, right? He did really, really well. In fact, to this day, 8 years later now, he still says it's as good as it's ever been.
Wow.
Meaning he's back at the gym, he's still weightlifting, doesn't hurt, doesn't bother him at night anymore. All those sorts of signs that tell me that it's healing and repairing.
That's fantastic. And how many treatments did he have to do to get...
He actually just had one. That was before we did stem cell banking, which we can talk about that another time, but that's just being able to bank your cells for future use so you can do multiple injections if necessary.